Hey guys, Ryan Gill here from Gill's Primitive Archery. So, is spear hunting ethical? Alright, so we've seen it before where the hunting celebrities, they'll go out and make a great kill on an animal with a spear, and they get great footage of it, which is wonderful, and blood squirting out everywhere, and it looks horrific and gory, and some people are into that and some people aren't. But half the people on social media are all like, hooray, congratulations, what a wonderful accomplishment. And then there's the other side of people that start screaming about the ethical side of it. Is it ethical? Is it humane? They think the huge amounts of pain that animal must endure while it lives with a spear in it until it dies. So, coming from a primitive hunter such as myself, I like to use Stone Age stuff if you haven't followed me before. And I have killed pigs with primitive spears. And so I can tell you firsthand what's to be expected in a spear kill. When you think about when an animal is struck with a spear and that adrenaline and endorphins kick in, it doesn't feel the pain. It's just like when a person nowadays gets into some sort of accident or has, hurts themselves relatively badly, that certain adrenaline comes in, you don't feel the pain. By the time that pain comes on, that animal is going to be expired. And as far as the amount of time it takes the animal to expire, you have to consider that what you're using is a lot bigger and has a lot more mass than, say, compared to a modern arrow. Okay, so when you take like a 2-inch wide steel spear and run it through something, that creates a lot of hemorrhage, and that animal will bleed out potentially faster than it would with the same shot on the bow. So really it doesn't necessarily matter what the instrument is or the implement used in harvesting the animal, but rather the shot placement. Because if you consider the ethics of a spear versus, say, the new modern archery that guys are shooting 50, 60, even 100 yards with, which promotes a lot of poor shots. It truly does. And you can also align that with the folks that are shooting modern rifles and they're chunking lead out to 1,000 yards at animals. And sure, maybe they can make a great shot once in a while, but your chance for that really perfect ethical hit goes way down the further anything is. And that's no different between any of the weapons being used, whether you're using a $2,000 rifle or a homemade spear. I will say one thing though, that the people that will dedicate themselves to hunting with a primitive weapon such as a spear usually put in the time to know what they're doing, and they've been very successful at other types of hunting, and they know their personal ability, such as myself. You don't typically have somebody that's never hunted before just walking out in the woods and saying, I'm going to spear hunt. They want the fastest, most efficient way possible to get that kill, because that's what they're after all. And it takes a really good hunter to finally get to that point where he's ready to put down some of the more modern weapons and go more primitive. And that person also typically has more experience and knows what to expect. Now, when you go back and start thinking about the Stone Age spears that I have hunted with, the atlatls and the long cane darts that I use, I did a lot of research and a lot of at-home testing, on a dead pig, on foam blocks, comparing them to bows and arrows that I already know and have already killed several big game animal species with. So I was able to compare to see how it works, and actually got to a point where my atlatl set was out-penetrating and outperforming my bow and arrow set, but it brought my distance of the shot much closer. So it wasn't like I was going to be back 20 yards throwing the spear at something. I was limiting that to like that 8, maybe to 10 yard range, knowing that that's where I could hit a reasonable size group pretty often. I mean, if you watch my video killing cans with the atlatl, you can see that I'm pretty dialed in at that 8 to 10 yard range, and even a little bit further, but we like to keep it closer. And that dart system that I'm using, although it's got a smaller point on it, got a smaller stone point, it's a very heavy dart. It's about 3,000 grains, and so it does penetrate a lot more than even an arrow does off of a pretty well performing primitive bow. Bottom line, are spears ethical? They are absolutely ethical. They will kill the animal faster. And even, I believe, on a poor shot, they will kill an animal faster than an arrow will. So, in my opinion, 100% spears are more than ethical, but just like anything else, it doesn't matter the weapon being used. It all comes down to the person using it. You have to know your limitations. You have to have done your research. Plain and simple, you got to know what you're doing. So thanks for following along, and please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also like Gil's Primitive Archery on Facebook. The links are both in the description below.